We're gonna harm some tires. Let's do some drifting. Because we have a full rear-wheel drive mode, you can do this. Turn in, give it some gas. Oh, that was too much. Did Dodge kind of build an American M3? It's available in 2-door or 4-door, all-wheel drive with available rear-wheel drive, and under the hood, you have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6. I'm joking, of course. They're very different vehicles in different segments and price points, but the big news is we have a gas-powered Dodge Charger again. This is the 2026 Charger Scat Pack with the 6-pack. So the 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 Hurricane high output, making 550 horsepower, and today we finally get to drive it. And as you can see behind me, we're currently at the tail of the Dragon, a legendary road, which is going to be a lot of fun driving this, frankly, rather large American muscle car to see what it's like. Time to do some driving. Europe may have the Nürburgring, the Stelvio Pass, but we have the tail of the Dragon. 318 turns and 11 miles. This is gotta be one of the best roads in America. It's pretty legendary. And we're currently here late in the fall when it's a little bit chilly out. Not the ideal time, but an interesting thing is the Charger Scat Pack comes on all seasons. We're running all seasons. They're pretty big ones. They're 305s out back, which I'm happy for because it is currently 38 degrees outside and we've got lots of twists and turns. Oh boy. So one of the first things you're gonna notice when you get into this car, especially on a road like this, is the size. This thing, she's wide. And in the past, they had the wide body treatment. This is wider than the previous wide body treatment. It's rather enormous. So a little bit is, this platform is now both a 2-door and a 4-door. In the past, we had Challenger, Charger, distinct ones. Not like the Challenger was small by any means, right? But this is now just the Charger, 2-door or 4-door. It's pretty long and it's pretty dang wide. It's nearly as wide as a Ram 1500. It's 2 inches wider than the previous already wide body treatment. I don't think they could do a wide body on this. It essentially has already been wide bodied because if you make it any wider, it's gonna have to run like the triple running lights like a dually or like a Ram TRX. It's as wide as a Aventador. It's wider than RS6, M5. So anyways, you get my point, right? It's pretty big and you have the really aggressive hood bulge there. So it just gives you that kind of typical muscle car proportion and feel. But how's the powertrain and driving? Well, this Hurricane high output inline-6 makes peak torque, or no, it's 88% of peak torque. So anyways, a lot of its peak torque very down low at like 2,500 RPM, and it carries. And that's a benefit of having a boosted powertrain. And it definitely makes solid power and torque. It feels typical 3-liter inline-6 kind of noise. Nice and smooth. You don't get that angry V8 rumble. I do kind of miss the supercharger whine and the Hellcat ones. Now, will they do a V8 version of the Charger? I'm willing to put some money on it, right? It just seems inevitable. Oh, that let me downshift pretty high. We have an 8-speed automatic, all-wheel drive with available rear-wheel drive. Now, I am currently in sport mode, which does a torque split of 40-60, 60 rear. Obviously, you can go full 100% when you're in pure rear-wheel drive, drift donuts mode, but I'm gonna keep it in all-wheel drive right now just because of the ambient conditions we've talked about. But once you get used to the size, the width, I feel like I'm taking up the whole lane, so you gotta be real careful on this tight road. It's actually decently well balanced. So they said they did a lot to strengthen just the body itself compared to the outgoing generation, and also the understeer mitigating understeer, trying to keep a little bit more neutral. And I've gone into some of these turns, some of these tight hairpin turns at speed, and it actually feels pretty well balanced. So that has me impressed. I don't love the paddle shifters because they're kind of like tiny little vestigial paddle shifters here, because on the electric one, it controls regen, but because we have the volume toggles and the track forward and back toggles on the back of the steering wheel, it means you don't get like a full-size, proper, satisfying paddle shifter click or pull or anything like that. It's kind of, I feel like I'm just using my fingertips and tapping up and down. Under the hood, the SIXPACK. You actually have to have a SIXPACK in order to own one of these. I have one. I'm just protecting it under some insulation for the winter, but it's the Hurricane Inline 6, a 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6. In high output form, it does 550 horsepower and 531 pound-feet of torque. Standard output is 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque. It's got forged internals, high-pressure direct injection, 54mm turbos delivering 30 pounds of boost. It's a pretty interesting powertrain paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and it is standard all-wheel drive with an available rear-wheel drive mode where it sends all the power to the rear wheels. Let's take a tour of the car. Dodge certainly knows how to make and name really, really cool paints. This orange is called Peel Out. There's a new color called Green Machine, and then other colors include After Dark, Ludicrous, Diamond Black, Red Eye, Triple Nickel, and White Knuckle. Those are some pretty cool, badass sounding paint names, and they definitely have very different personalities for the car, but here in the bright orange, it is unmissable. A big change between this and the Daytona EV version is you don't have that front wing anymore, the pass-through, because instead of channeling air over the car, this thing has to consume air. So they got rid of that. Instead, you have this big bulge on the hood, and it says SIXPACK right there. Now, this bulge is actually taller than is needed to accommodate the engine. That was for aerodynamics, but it also looks pretty cool. Up front, it is unmistakably a Dodge Charger. That look brings some heritage cues, wide, mean, and you have the updated Dodge Performance logo in the middle, the DRL spanning it with just a gaping opening with a lot of functionality. You can actually see a radiator through there. These are all various slots and openings for airflow to feed the engine and to cool everything and to eat leaves in the fall. But this thing definitely is unmistakably a Dodge. You see it, you're like, yep, that's the newest version of the Charger Challenger outgoing version, right? We've got different 20-inch wheels available, only 20s, with different size tires. You can get wider ones. These have the 305s. They did add the black lower, and then some of them have the black two-tone in order to try to shrink the body size a little bit. That's a visual trick from the designers. And another cool thing is this is a hatchback. So if we come back here, we press that button right there. It's hidden in that taillight bar. The entire hatch opens, which actually makes this a pretty practical sports coupe. You can put a lot of stuff back there, fold the back seats down. I've got my backpack in here. There's probably even more storage underneath. Yep, a little bit right there. But that's a pretty practical giant hatch in the back. And then we can press this here to close that. Around back, it says Charger here on the bumper instead of Daytona. And of course, we have exhaust tips. They're 100mm tips, either chrome with this dark finish. So you have actual real exhaust tips indicating that this one is the gas-powered one, not the electric Daytona. The taillight bar here across, and they have the logo in the middle too. I actually like that new logo. It looks really cool. You got a little spoiler on the back. Again, this is the evolved version of the Charger Challenger. Unmistakably that, but also modernized cues. It's got tons of presence and bright orange. It definitely attracts attention. I think it looks the part for sure. What do you guys think about the styling? Now let's take a tour of the interior. We've got two main screens. This is the upgraded 16-inch cluster, and then our Uconnect 5 infotainment screen. Got the touchscreen here with the controls for your heated, cooled seats, heated steering wheel, but actual physical buttons here for your climate. Uconnect 5 is pretty nice. It's got CarPlay, which is what I was using most of the time today, but we also have our performance pages. You can see all sorts of things. We've got a flat bottom and top steering wheel, so it's a squircle. We've got our drive mode toggles right here. If you double click the drive modes button, it goes into your custom mode, which you can set up with all different configurations. So custom here, you can do custom setup. You can change your propulsion, paddles, traction, steering. Interesting they use the word propulsion, probably because this is a multi-energy platform. You have the EV version or the gas version, so they just say propulsion instead of engine, right? So you can change sport, street, paddles on and off, traction control, and steering. That's your custom mode. Otherwise, you have sport, auto, wet/snow. And wet snow, this thing is all-wheel drive, so ostensibly you could use it as a winter daily driver. We have two little phone pads right here, but this one on the right is your wireless charger. And then down below, there's your auto stop start disable, your parking sensors, lane keeping, traction control, and there's a launch control button, two USB-C ports right down there, the pistol grip shifter, which is such an American thing, the start engine stop button, some carbon trim here, cup holders, and a pretty spacious center console. I have like my camera in here, a bunch of stuff that actually fits a surprising amount. The seats are sporty with the suede and a really cool etching pattern on them. You can also get the red suede interior, which is pretty cool, but this one's got some red stitching. They have to like lock what colors you can do the red interior with, because with that new green, it would be Christmas, right? I can't imagine they would let us do that. We've got the big glass roof up there that is available. It's got some tinting, but no shade to fully close it off. Suede headliner up there, and then take a look at that ambient lighting with the carbon fiber cascading across the door. That's pretty cool. It has this like glow effect, almost makes it look like the armrest part is floating, and it continues across the dash here. More of that carbon trim. It says charger right there, suede with the red stitching. And if you take a look under apps right here, it's called attitude adjustment. If you told your wife she needed an attitude adjustment, you probably would be in a lot of trouble, but with the charger, it simply lets you change your ambient colors, 64 different colors of lighting. Scrolling across there, I've had it on the reddish orange, which matches the exterior look and feel and feels nice and sporty. So that's pretty cool. And you can actually see it during the day. I think it's because it's recessed into that pocket and it glows against the door. So it actually has this really cool look and feel while you're driving, even when it's bright out. Otherwise, the interior is pretty similar to the EV version. Obviously, they're platform siblings. The steering wheel does get the little paddles up here instead of regen braking. That is for your paddle shifters. But now, let's press that electronic door release, and let me show you the rear seats. So I'll unbutton that. You pull this up. I have this seat set to where I am comfortable at 6'3". You're gonna go forward for me? Should slide forward, right? Okay, well, whatever. I'll just crawl my way in. So it's interesting. The rear legroom space is supposed to be the same between the sedan, the 4-door, and the 2-door. And at 6'3", can I sit behind myself? Yes, I have enough room. Headroom, I'm kind of hitting the sloping roofline right here, but we've got heated seats back here, and I actually fit. Obviously, with the 4-door, it's easier to get in and out of because you have your own door and you're not climbing out of the back seat. I don't know why this... It should slide forward. See, watch this. When I pull this one forward, see, it moves. It scoots. I don't know why this one's not doing it, but I can get out. Ah. Oh, I just noticed that. The side skirt says no step. Got to be careful. That is definitely not load bearing. Get the Dodge lettering there on the door sill with a kind of carbon imitation pattern. Otherwise, there's a quick look at the interior of the Dodge Charger Scat Pack 6-pack. We also have Brembo 6-piston front brakes to help slow this thing down. And is it weighty? Yeah, you feel the mass and size, but compared to the EV version, whew, it's about 1,000 pounds lighter. I mean, it's more power, more torque, more grip, all-wheel drive available compared to the outgoing generation. Really, all you're losing out on is this sound, and it's definitely weightier, but I feel like the dynamics are definitely better than the old generation Charger and Challengers. I still have very distinct memories of spending time with a Charger Red Eye wide body. That was like the slowest 800 horsepower car I've ever driven because all it did was just spin the wheels. It was hilarious fun, right? But in terms of practical performance, it didn't really do anything. Like, it would do a rolling burnout with traction control still on. It's holding the gears pretty well up there. I keep triggering the memory seats thing because it's right here by my left knee. And when you're going through these turns, I keep smacking it. And it keeps like telling me you can't set memory seats at these speeds, or it keeps asking me if I want to save it. So that's kind of driving me crazy. I was confused earlier why it kept popping up when I started driving quicker. And I was like, oh, the control is just right there by my left knee. I started off by kind of joking, is this an American M3? Well, no, right? This is significantly heavier and bigger, and also quite a bit less expensive. But it's a funny comparison because, I mean, it sounds kind of like an M3, and the ingredients are kind of like an M3. But the M3 is still the M3, right? It's German engineering to the max. It's way lighter and more nimble and way quicker. An M3 Comp X-Drive, even though on paper this has it beat in power and torque, I mean, those people are, testing them under 3 seconds, 0 to 60. They are little rocket ships, and they are definitely capable. But this Charger Scat Pack with the 6-pack is actually a pretty interesting value, because this one here starts at just under $55,000. It's right in the middle of the lineup. There is a entry-level Charger RT 6-pack with the standard output Hurricane, 420 horsepower. That one's gonna be just under $50,000. $49,995. This one's just under $55,000. Now, when you option things up, the Plus package, the nicer interior with the carbon, the suede, and things like that, right? You'll likely get into the 60s and maybe touching 70, but still, 550 horsepower, internal combustion for under $55,000. And they've also dropped the price of the top dog Daytona. The electric one, 670 horsepower. That's now just under $60,000. So that's a pretty interesting lineup of options here. And I am definitely certain we're gonna get hotter SRT versions. Will they turn up the Hurricane high output even more? It definitely has the potential. That's a legit, well-engineered twin-turbo inline-6 with some pretty cool engine tech under the hood. But I'm almost like, I'd be willing to bet a little bit of money, not a lot of money, a little bit of money, that we'll see a V8 back. TRX is supposed to come back. They're putting V8s in Jeeps. Durango Hellcat Jailbreak just got released. What do you guys think? Dodge Charger Scat Pack with the 6-pack. The naming is getting a little bit confusing. There is like 2-door, 4-door, Charger, Scat Pack, 6-pack, Daytona, Scat Pack, RT. Whew. And they're only gonna keep adding more different versions. But what Dodge knows how to do is marketing and branding. You watch one of their commercials launch this thing, it's burnouts, it's fire, it's donuts, it's all of that goodness. It's the naming, like you look at the names of the colors, right? Red Eye, Hellcat, like they know how to do all of that kind of stuff to evoke that passion and excitement. Dodge going back to his roots, doing what they do best. This was quite a lot of fun getting to experience the new Charger Scat Pack with the 6-pack. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. What do you guys think? For 55 grand, good value? I think so. I think so. Thanks for watching.